Speaking of this pandemic, how much do you know about COVID-19 and how do you prevent it? If you don't know yet, don't worry, we're going to discuss it in this video. So today's topic is about COVID-19, which will be delivered in the form of analytical exposition text. Learning objectives. After following the learning process, students are expected to be able to identify the text structure and language features in analytical exposition text, identify the social function of an analytical exposition text, and gain knowledge and awareness of COVID-19 pandemic and apply it in everyday life. Before we start the lesson, here is some important terms to build your vocabulary skill. The first one, COVID-19, is the name of the disease caused by the novel coronavirus, SARS-CoV-2, and is a short for Corona Disease 2019. Epidemic, an increase often sudden in the number of cases of a disease above what is normally expected in the population in that area. And there is a pandemic. It is a worldwide spread of a new disease. Self-quarantine is staying home and away from the other people as much as possible after exposure. Self-isolation, a healthcare term that means keeping infected people away from the uninfected. And the last one is social distancing. It's deliberately increasing the physical space between people in order to avoid spreading illness. Now look at the text. You can pause the video and read the text carefully. Okay, you're done? Now, just like what you have seen before, we are going to talk about analytical exposition text, and this is the example of it. We are going to analyze this text later, but first let's get to know with the basic concept. What is analytical exposition text? Let's get to know. So, analytical exposition text is a text that elaborates the writer's idea about the phenomenon surrounding. The social function is to persuade the reader to look at an issue with your perspective. Exposition text can be found in many forms, such as legal defenses, letters, political leaflets, essays, newspaper articles, editorials, and of course so many more. Now we are moving to the characteristic of analytical exposition text. An exposition text needs to, first, clearly state the point of view. Second, use valid research findings to support your viewpoint. And of course, defend your point. And the last one is support the viewpoint with the factual data. Another important characteristic of analytical exposition text is the language features. There are several language features in this type of text that you need to know. The first one, use present tense, such as lions live, I eat, cheetahs run. Second, use mental verbs, such as I believe, I prefer, I agree, I doubt, I disagree. And then, use saying verbs to support the arguments, such as people say, it is say, research indicates, etc. Use connecting words to link the argument so that the flow of the arguments is logical and fluent, such as additionally, moreover, firstly, secondly, etc. And then there's use causal conjunction to indicate a cause or reasons of what is being stated, such as because, despite, due to, for that reason, in that case, even though, yet, otherwise, etc. And the last one is use persuasive techniques. The first one is use generalization to support viewpoints or arguments, use evidence and facts to back up the generalization, like using research, expert opinions, testimonies, or quotes. And the last one is use exaggeration to make things or issue appear better or worse than they actually are. Now we are going to look for each language features with the text I showed you before. The first one is use present tense. In the first paragraph, you can see it's using present tense, which located in the I believe people should stay home to stop this pandemic disease. And the next one is use mental verbs. Still in the same paragraph, the mental verb in here is I believe. The third is use connecting words. It is located in the second, third, and fourth paragraph, which is located in the first sentence of each paragraph. In here, the connecting word is the first. And the last one is using causal conjunction. It is located in the third paragraph in the first word of the second sentence as because. Now we're moving on to the generic structure. The generic structure of an analytical exposition is divided into 3 steps: introduction or thesis statement, body, which consists of arguments, and the last one is conclusion or a reiteration. As you have seen before, the generic structure is divided into these 3 steps. The first one is introduction or thesis statement. It introduces the topic and shows speaker or writer's position. It is an outline of the arguments that are presented. Body or arguments. It consists of point and elaboration. Point is state the main argument, and elaboration develops the supports each point of arguments. The last one is conclusion or a reiteration. It could also be a restatement because it restates the speaker's or writer's position. Now let's analyze the text again with its structure. As you can see, "Please stay at home" is the title. The first paragraph is the introduction. The next 3 paragraphs is the body or arguments. These are the arguments. In one of the arguments, this sentence is a point, and the next sentence is called as elaboration. The last paragraph is called as conclusion. Okay, enough with my part. Now it's your turn. You're going to answer some question about what we have learned.